Hello, 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 and welcome back to another long-awaited episode of Two Angles on Angling. This is Jordan with my co-host.
It's Ryan, guys. What's up?
So we're recording. It's been 3 weeks now since we've recorded last. We're back on a Sunday. It's what, like four
On the
right
dot.
now. A lot has changed outside in the atmosphere and everything, and the weather patterns since we have last recorded. Uh, Huge change of color in the leaves
Oh yeah.
compared to when we recorded last. Leaves, a lot more leaves falling to the ground since last we recorded. Uh, very odd weather patterns. Very warm, very
Super warm.
84 today. I think was the high, uh, or is the high for the day.
Look, I
And
mean, shorts and
yeah,
sun hoodies
yeah,
still.
October.
Sunburned
Yeah,
face.
so
Yeah.
we'll get there eventually, slowly but surely. I hope. Uh, As for the fishing side of things for me, with the weather the way it has been, and a lot of other life events as well, I haven't gotten out as much. And just in the few dabblings I have had out on the upper and lower, I was not too blown away to want to be too eager to get back out right away either. So, uh, going back several weeks, and I wrote about this in one of my blogs as well. Uh, but I took two of my former football buddies out fishing, and they both caught their first walleyes, which was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Because my buddy Jake was like, "Do you think we're gonna catch a muskie?" And I was like, "Probably not."
Where was
But
this?
on the river, I was like, "Probably not." The upper river. I was
Right.
like, "Probably not." But there's always a possibility. You never really know. So I made they fish, but they're like pond fishermen
Right.
usually. So I was like, all right, this is and they're power fishermen. So like when I was fishing with them, I was like, they don't like they gotta understand like the finesse, and the one guy was not getting it. So as we're fishing along, well, initially I'm like, okay, when you guys cast, watch me, watch my cast. This is exactly what I want you guys to do. But then just like obviously you do with clients and everything. And so I'm like, when you're taking bottom like this, that's too much, and you got to reel up, okay? But you have to touch bottom. You can't keep reeling it; like it has to stay down there. So I show him, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, cool." So he gets up and casts. So I got the first cast stank off for my
Hmm.
guys.
Yeah.
First cast, he catches the walleye. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, all right, this is awesome. So it was a nice walleye too. We did end up keeping it,
Nice.
and yeah. So I asked that. I was like, do you want it? I'll flay it, and I'll even like if you want to, if you got time, I'll cook it and we'll eat it, whatever. He's like, I'm not a big fish guy. I'm like, keep it then if you don't mind. Like, yeah, all right, cool. So got that in the live well. The other guy was casting away. Tyler was casting away in the back, and I could tell that he wasn't quite, he wasn't used to fishing. And he was like, "Yeah, this is my first time fishing from a boat." And I'm like, "Okay, I didn't know that. So okay,
Hmm.
awesome. Well, that's okay." So I was like, I just got to pay a little more attention to like help him out because
Right.
he wasn't
Right.
understanding it. And within like the next few casts, Jake so he hooks up and he's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, I got one on. Like it's fighting." I'm like, "All right, cool. This has got to be a smallmouth. Like the walleye was kind of just wallowing. It wasn't fighting very much." And so I see this thing like come up, and I'm like, "Oh boy!" And I'm looking at him, and he did duck it. So I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like he's got that down at least." So this is Jake, not Tyler. So he's and he's fighting it again, and it gets a little closer to the boat, and it jumps again, and it spits hook, and I'm like, all right, well, that was a nice one, but that was cool. So there's smallmouth here on this drift as well. Oh man, so whatever, got him back thrown in, and then the next cast he caught like the first smallmouth, which was just a little tiny,
Hmm.
the river rat. But I was like, all right, I think we should probably move. There's not much. I mean, there is some activity, but like it slowed down, and I was like this, and I was like, also, I think there's an area we could probably power fish because the guy in the back of the boat, I'm like, that seems to be what he wants to do
Right.
because he just kept reeling the whole time, and I was like, all right, so let's see if we can help him get on a fish. So we fished for a few hours. Nada, nothing happened. So I'm like, dang, all right. The one guy, Tyler, had to go. He crazy. He got out of work and then went fishing. So he worked overnight and came out fishing. I
Oh,
was like, all
yikes.
right, dedication. And then he was like, but I gotta get off the water at noon. I gotta sleep. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like we'll just drop you off, and if Jake wants to fish some more, we can keep fishing. And Jake was like, yeah, I want to keep fishing. I got the whole day, and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I do. I want to keep fishing too. I hadn't caught anything yet, so I'm like, all right, well, he caught his first walleye, and he caught 2 bass, so I'm like, that's sweet. Oh, I misspoke. I did catch one smallmouth actually at that point. Another just slightly bigger, but still smaller river size. Uh, so then we drop, or no, we're getting ready to drop Tyler off. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try that spot again where we started because he did catch the fish there, and I think just I'm like calculating like probability. Okay, we know there's fish there. They ate earlier. It's been several hours. No one's there. Let's see. And Tyler was like, man, like I'm just so sick of these weeds and the snags and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you got a fish on, bro. Because I kept saying to him throughout the day, I think you got a fish. And he was like, no, man. I'm like, okay. But then like the rod tip, and I'm like, dude, no, you got a fish. So he keeps reeling, and he's like, oh my god, I do. And I'm like, yeah. And it was on. That was, I think, on the Ned rig because he was like, oh, because it catches the weeds so much more than like the drop shot does.
Right.
Like, what the? So he caught that. I'm like, all right, see, boom, there you go. And then that was like 5 minutes before he had to get off the water. So I felt great about that. That was his first ever fish from a boat, first ever walleye. So that was awesome. Much smaller than Jake's, but hey, he was happy nonetheless. So then we head back out, and things started to turn around. I started to figure out what needed to happen, and we both started catching fish, which was awesome. And then at the end, we made one last adjustment, and it didn't pay off for Jake really. It paid off for me heavily, which I was happy about. But so fishing through this area, and I caught a smallmouth, decent size on the spinner bait. And then we go back up to do the drift, and we're maybe I caught two. Yeah, there were two decently apart, and then we go back through the drift again. Excuse me. And in between where I caught those fish, I'm reeling in this swim bait this time because I was like, I'll give him the spinner bait because they're eating it clearly, and like he hasn't caught a fish on the moving bait today, so like he'll be like ecstatic if the smallmouth strikes a spinner bait right now. So I'm reeling in my swim bait, and about whatever here to the door, me to the camera stand away, whatever. I see this muskie like tailing the bait hard, coming in hot, and I'm like, all right, this is what happened with that muskie I caught on my birthday. I'm like, I'm just gonna, as soon as it gets here, kill the bait, feed it, and like let it take it. So I knew this time I was risking it a lot more because it was much lighter line, but I was like, dude, it's happening right now. Like it's hard to kind of not.
Yeah.
So, dude, the most epic piece of acrobatics from a fish I've ever seen. Okay. So first off, the muskie eats the bait, chomps it in front of me, and I had way less line out than I thought. So I set the hook naturally, and there's no line. So he goes screaming, and the drag's peeling for a split second, and then it pops off. So all happening so quickly, this fish is like tailing and then goes down, snaps, goes down. Then this fish, dude, this muskie, which it was 30 something inches, probably over 30, comes in like dolphins out of the water. So if this, okay,
It's trying to throw the hook out of its mouth, right?
Yeah, it came belly, like perfectly straight up and down, like it would be in the water, and came and arced full body out of the water and back in like that. And I was looking at Jake and I'm like, did you see this, man? And I don't think he did. He saw the tail go in, but I'm like, dude, That's a 30-inch fish coming clean out of the water,
That's
just
cool.
enough to skim his belly the whole way up. Like it just seems so like perfect, like
Yeah.
perfect jump. Because usually you see them jump, you're not getting a clear side image of them. Like they're jumping and they're thrashing and stuff. This was just like whoop. It was awesome. So he was like, "Oh my gosh, that was a muskie." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." So we ended up calling the day shortly after that. Just the floating weeds were just getting to
Yeah.
be an absolute annoyance, especially with the moving baits. Like we any of the good clean casts, like when you were like, "Oh wow, that was good," those were the two fish that we caught. But most of the other casts, it was weeds. So not a whole lot else to be said for that day. It was a fun day overall. Everyone caught fish, which made me very, very happy to hear. Very happy to experience because I was able to provide that for them. So that was like a little taste of guiding as well, and
Hell yeah.
getting to get them on their first walleye too. Which like when he said that, I like I played football with them, and I knew that they fished back then, and like we kind of had parted ways, so I had no knowledge of their experience. So I kind of just took for granted, like, okay, well, it's been like 7 years. People have they've had, I know,
Yeah.
they've been fishing this long, and now they hadn't. So I'm like, wow, all right, like that's amazing. And I was like on the upper where I caught my first walleye, the Upper Niagara River
Yeah,
too.
man.
So I was like, that's super cool. So that was an awesome experience, and yeah, so that was yeah, those were the fishing experience I had after the last podcast. So that was awesome. Oh, another little thing on that to start the day. So I get there, launch the boat, and the motor won't start, and I'm like, come on, like I'm
Mm.
excited. I haven't fished in a while. Like, what's going on? So I try jumping the battery, nothing's going on. So there's these two boats next to us, duck hunters, and goose
Goose.
hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah, goose hunters. And yeah, the two boats over was two older gentlemen, dudes. You'll understand as I explain, and then a kid. So the one guy's like, "Well, have you tried tightening the terminals or anything? Have you checked them?" And I'm like, "No, sir, I haven't, but like I'll give it a go." And he's like, "All right, well, yeah, see what happens." So I do, and then the motor's up and going, and I'm like, "Did it work?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir, thank you." He was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." He was like, well, "And hey, just so you know, you don't have to call me or don't call me sir. When you do that, it makes me feel like I'm an old fuck." And I was like, "All right, dude, I won't then." And his buddy that was with him, he was like, "Well, he is an old fuck, so you can." And I'm like, "All right, guys, well, have a great day." And we were up and running, and I just ran the motor for the first half of the day pretty much all the time, which I mean, we caught fish, so I can't say that it completely negatively impacted like the fishing. I think we may have caught another fish or two potentially. I don't really know, but then after we dropped him off, I was able to shut it off, and it was much good to go for the rest of the endeavor. So that was awesome. Fast forwarding to 2 weeks after that, so this last week when I saw you on the lower river, my dad and I got out and fished the lower river for a few hours. Ended up loading 5 smallmouth total, all on the drop shot. Nothing to write home about, just small river size, kind of like the ones I caught up on the upper. But still fun to get out and stretch a line and everything. And that was also one of the first times my dad's like really got to witness like and that wasn't even a lot, but like salmon, porpoising, and browns and everything. Like they were jumping, and I was like, pointing them out, and I'm like, "Oh, did you see that salmon?" And then like this really freaking brown with this fat tail came up. I'm like, "Oh, dude!" I'm
Yeah.
like, I want. So I did end up bringing my spoon rod and like my stick bait rod for the salmon and everything. And so I was casting that for a while as my dad was fishing, and he did catch a smallmouth while I was doing that. And I was ripping this jerk bait back, and dude, I had such a freaking thud on it. I was like, And when I felt it, I'm like, there's gonna be a fish pulling in a second. I know it. Nothing, and I was like, son of a gun, man.
Got
See,
blasted though.
yeah. So I was like, all right, well, that was cool. So because I'm going to mention this because we're going to get into a serious conversation here in a minute about etiquette and angler, outdoors person etiquette in general. But, Ryan and I talk about this a lot while fishing, especially on a river, is that there is current. And when you decide not to go with the flow and go with the current, you then are jamming and disrupting the flow of boats. So at the time of this incident or whatever that I'm talking about, Ryan was also out as well, and he pulled up onto the spot, and then he left because he rolled up to me and was like, "Dude, this is just crazy. Like, they're just spot locked on the top of the drift, and then there's these two kayakers. Which don't get me wrong, like they all have a right to be there, but there is a flow and everything. And then there's kayakers who are trolling and going against the
Oh, hold on
current.
a second, dude. When every time that somebody says this will kind of bleed into our other
Yeah, you're
conversation, but
right. I shouldn't have said my statement based on
I'll
that.
plant
Yeah, yeah,
seeds there. Like,
yeah, yeah.
so the
Good
idea
point.
of having a
Good point.
right
Good point.
to do this and a right to do that, I just think packages it weirdly. Like I mean, if you are a kayak angler and you're going out into big water where there's a lot of big boats fishing around you, that's fucked up. Like, plain and simple, that's fucked up. You're posing a risk to yourself and us, and you're being highly disruptive. To what end? Like, kayak fish, it's like fly anglers are the same way about things. It's like it's got to be done this way. I want to catch it because I caught it out of a kayak. Like, that's some, and that's its own cult and whatever, man. Like, I'm not disparaging it, but what I am disparaging is using a kayak to fish when there's lots of big boats around fishing. You don't have the right of way, and you're just going to end up being disruptive, and you're putting yourself at risk. Like, I don't approve of it at all. And there's really nothing you can do. Like, I'll try to wake them out and like make them feel it, like make them feel that you're in the wrong. Like, I won't send big wakes, but I'm not going to make it comfortable for that guy to fish there. I'm not going to accommodate it. It's just ridiculously risky. So that's my 2 cents and my rant on kayakers. Don't feel bad about disparaging them because
Yeah, I mean, it's like yet again with going with the flow of like what's happening on the water and everything. It's like, okay, if you are going to, it doesn't okay, whatever vessel it is, okay, if you are not able to go above like 10 miles an hour, so you're like in a little sputter engine, paddling, whatever. There is no reason that when there are boats drifting, that once you are drifting down, that you are going to try and go on the outside of them in the main river to pass them, because then that eliminates you in the boat from being able to go drive that way immediately and go up and over versus just hugging the shore, going up
right.
and starting it over. Which, whatever, I don't know, like, but it's just
There's a flow of things, and
yeah, and you've got like, and then so it was them, a tin boat, and like another boat that was spot locked, the one that you pulled up on, and it's like I'm doing the drift, and yes, we were drifting somewhat on like in a shallower area. We wanted to be more on the drop off, but then these two boats pulled up and started drifting, and like I literally could have cast to this guy's boat where he stopped and pulled up, and I'm like, I can't even go out deeper now to fish if I want. So it's just like I'm like it just added up to a very frustrating day on the water for me because I'm like I know I haven't been out in a while, but every time I've started to drift, I've stayed clear of all of these boats. I've been well ahead of them or well away from them, and now I'm drifting, and all of a sudden these boats are just pulling up and like landing right next to me and just starting to fish. It's like what is going on
yeah,
here?
dude, it's
You should not be, especially where I'm talking about, like especially in that area and everything. You should not be within like a lob cast distance of someone's boat.
Right.
Like that's just ridiculous, man. Like that's crazy to me. Like there's no
Well,
point in that.
there's circumstances where, like, in Art Park and
Yeah,
the
and that's a way
fort
different. Yeah.
in the fall, where there's just tons of boats around, and but what you're talking about is all more that much more important during that time of year, because
Sure.
like, you must drift, like, everybody, you must, it's the only way everybody can fish.
Yeah.
And people like, so there
It's
you
like a
just
conveyor belt. Yeah, like
yeah,
if you
so
yeah if
you
you're
just
standing
that's
still in
what you
that.
got to
Yeah.
do, because standing still is not a thing. You can't do that. Like, you
Yeah,
could
when
sit.
you're the only one out of 50 boats, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
but even if there were Lakers and Browns, like where the Lakers are in Art Park, you can't spot lock in there. The current's way too
Yeah,
fast. You would screw things up and create all kinds of problems. And there's other boats in there that don't have the same power trolling motor. Like, so you have to accommodate the masses. It is drifting is the most democratic way to fish. Everybody gets a chance. Go with the flow and go wide. And if you're not happy with there being a bunch of people, don't go out or find a different place to go. Like, that's what I do. I do join the crowds for sure from time to time, but, like, to your point, I mean, like you said at the beginning of this, it's October 5th and it was 85 degree. Like, it just hasn't gotten cold, and there's still people, and rightfully so, behaving like it's summer. Like, the upper night, like, dude, when I was out today, there were guys fishing shirtless in shorts, and the upper Niagara was jammed with boats. Like, when I took the Robert Moses, and I took the LaSalle Expressway home from the lower, and the launch at Griffin, like, the parking lot was full. Like, it was crazy. Like, there's still people up, like, the flying kites, just having a good time.
yeah,
Like,
I saw that
it's
this week.
so people are, they're taking advantage of
Yeah,
what continues to be summer. And, like, to that point, like, the fishing really hasn't changed. Like, there's still, like, so since we recorded last, I fished a full week, went to North Dakota for a week. And then, no, I went since we recorded last, I went to North Dakota and then fished for 2 full weeks. North Dakota, just check out the blog. It's on the website. We're not gonna that would be a whole other conversation. But the fishing, though, that I've experienced for the past 2 weeks is exactly the same as it was in the middle of the summertime. There's tons and tons of walleyes around, and there's lots of anglers out still. Less on the walleye front, but there's still a lot. And the bass bite is marginal. Like, so, and people, the more that people that are around, like you're experiencing, just the more pressure gets put on them. Like, so I've gotten to the point where we're either fishing walleyes or we're not really going to be fishing that much until the water temperature
yeah.
drops.
Well,
Because
yeah, like it was like 69 when I
yeah,
went down there. So
like,
yeah,
it's
I was expecting like 67, 66 even, but
yeah, I
it's
mean, like, the thing that I keep going back and forth about shutting this out of my head, and maybe this will be the last time I talk about this, but, like, the bass bite legit has been crap in the lakes. In the rivers, like, you can pull, like you experienced, you can kind of put together a decent outing to stay entertained, but you're going to be dealing with weeds, man. I mean, the lower less, but the upper is, like, super weedy. Like, the weed die-off's happening. Like, it happens as the leaves start changing colors on trees, the weeds start dying, and then the whole water column gets shitty with them, and it just sucks. Like, when all that stuff should be flushed out by the end of October, and then, like, you can kind of really get a sense of what's going on. But, like, the lake fishing sucks. The lower Niagara has been okay. Like, some days it's, like, good, like, barely good. Other days it's not at all. So, for bass, but the walleye front, those fish are still there, man. Like, I fished out of Buffalo twice this week and got 3-man limits. I fished out of Dunkirk this week and caught lake trout and steelhead and a 2-man limit because it was just me and one other guy. That was a crazy day. Like, It's just, I caught one king this week too. Um, or I didn't, one of my clients caught a king this week in on the lower, but just one. I've only been casting crankbaits or stick baits for them, so guys using skein have been catching them, but I haven't like dedicated too much time to doing it to the point where I'm going to be armed with skein when I go up there. I'm just, let's go for it. And so it paid off once. It didn't pay off today, but we're trying to figure out what's going on with the smallmouth, man. Is I don't know. One thing that I like, because some people say, well, it's water temperature. Well, it's not water temperature. The water was warmer this time for like the past 3 years than it is now. Like because you got to remember, like it wasn't that long ago. Right before I went to North Dakota, the thermocline flipped, and or it was like a week before I went. We had a flip. It was like right at the end of August is when we had that flip, and it dropped. Remember, it dropped the water temperature 10 degrees in like 3 days, and everything got real cold, and then things stabilized again over the past bunch of weeks, and it's the water temperature came back up because it's been so hot. But during that dip, I pounded smallmouth. Like I pounded, like it was really good out on Lake Erie, especially on windy days. And then since it's come back to this, it hasn't been. So there's one observation. The second observation is we've had just millions of walleyes hanging around. And I don't know what a walleye and a bass's relationship is, but I can tell you this: like the walleyes outnumber the bass like 1,000,000 to 1, and they are far more voracious predators and schooling fish. I mean, they're just walleyes are just straight up killers, man. Like straight up killers. Like that's what they live to do is just kill shit. Like that's they're crazy predators, man. I mean, they're built to do that. Um, and you put millions of those around bass, and it's like, okay, well, one, the competition for food has to be pretty fierce, but there's a lot of gobies down there, so I don't know. Bass can just eat those all summer if they want. So I don't know. But what I do know is that there's still lots of walleyes around, and that's what you can catch tons of. So it's like, do you want to struggle and try to catch some bass, or do you want to catch a ton of walleyes? And hook them and like set hard on them, get them in, and you get to keep the meat. It tastes fantastic. Like I'll do either or, but I've been pushing people generally towards doing those walleye trips because they're awesome. So that I like this upcoming. So we had a thermocline flip this week too, but we it was a small one. It wasn't a flip. Like it came up. It came up to like at one point maybe 50 feet down. It was 45 degrees, but it's already reset. Like that, all that cold water like went right back. Um, so it's as if nothing like that happened, but it didn't really have an effect because it only lasted a couple days. And if like what I did notice is that I found walleyes in front of Buffalo yesterday in way shallower water than I did on Monday. And so yesterday was like post flip. So maybe another big group of fish got pushed in front of Buffalo. I saw a lot and we caught a lot. But it was really good on Monday too. So I just think that there's still a ton of fish everywhere as far as walleyes go. This upcoming week is going to be strange because like tomorrow is another hot and windy day like today, and then Tuesday and Wednesday it's going to get nasty. Like Tuesday is supposed to be big southwests, rain, like plenty of rain, and then Wednesday it's supposed to turn to the north and drop into like the 40s and 50s. I don't know how long it'll stay there. I hope it stays there for a while, but so there's going to be another chaos event, which like that's the one thing that is kind of standard across every fall is there'll be stability, and regardless of what the temperature is, there's stability, and then there's just a smash, and then there's stability, and then those smash stability windows will get a little bit closer. Like now we have like one, maybe 2 days a week that are getting jacked up by weather. And that's like October. Typically, October is, you could reasonably fish 22, 23 days in October. I mean, you could fish every day in October if you wanted, but you'd have some really crappy ones in the wind. But so like reasonably, you could do 22 days in October. Well, you can't do that in November. Like November, like an awesome November that you can really plan on is maybe 17. If you have a really good weather year, you can maybe do a couple more than that. But like most years, you're happy with like 15 to 17 days. And then December it gets even less. So we're still feeling that. It's just hot and it sucks. And I'm tired of roasting. Um, Something needs to. But look, I mean, wildlife fishing is still awesome. And like you said, you saw some kings. I've definitely seen some Lakers porpoise. I've seen some Browns porpoise too. Like, even though the water is warm, I mean, it really just needs to drop another. I think I think when things drop another 10 degrees, it's gonna like things are gonna get really crazy. I just don't know when that's gonna happen. Probably not until early November, um, which is fine. I'll keep chasing walleyes for a while, man. So that's all I got on the fishing front, man. I'm booked every day this upcoming week. I'm going to fish even through the nasty weather. Guys in from out of town just want to go for it. So I'm going for 21 straight. We'll see. We'll see. So what do you want to get deep on today, man?
So this is finishing up my weekly recap of fishing and all my outdoor adventures, but also diving deeply into our topic of the day, which is, I guess, to summarize it, outdoor etiquette. If you're going to spend time, recreate, be in outdoor places, like these are like these should be obvious things.
Yeah, and it's not just it's like etiquette is one word for it. Like what I would be what I would be more inclined to say is just things that should be common sense that we assume as like normal people assume are common sense, but apparently aren't. And when but the thing is man, all right, just tell, because like dude, where I want to go with this topic is yeah. So just
all right.
get it out, buddy. Get it out.
So so yesterday uh decided, all right, I'm gonna go fishing at our park. Had a busy morning, but I had the afternoon free. I'm like, I need time in nature nonetheless. So I'm gonna go down there and get some fishing in. So went to the first spot. There's a bunch of people there. I'm like, all right, I'll keep going. So I go down to the next spot. I'm like, sweet. These two people are moving upstream. I'll fish whatever water they just fished. It doesn't matter. I'm just here to chill out. So I thought. So uh, I get going, like get over to the spot. I set my gear down against the shore, and I'm like, very cognizant. I'm like, what? The waves are coming up pretty high when the big jet boats come by. If I put my bag there, that thing's gonna be gone ASAP. So set my stuff down, like analyzing the water, and I'm like, all right, this looks like a pretty good spot. Like I can see a pretty good drop off. I think there's gonna be fish here. And I'm like, what's that smell? Like, what's going on here? Like, what is that? So I turn back to where I just walked from, and there is a log. There is a human turd on the ground with a Kleenex, napkin, whatever, piece of toilet paper, whatever.
Hold on, dude.
Yes.
Let's get a little more specific.
Hold on, I gotta finish.
About no, I want to focus on the toilet paper for a
Oh
second.
yes.
Because remember, this is partly like true crime, what
Yes.
we're getting into here. So, are we talking about like one or two little Kleenex, or are we talking about a substantial amount of toilet
It
paper?
was a smaller amount, so it could have been leaning more on the side of Kleenex than toilet paper.
So like maybe something that like if it was a woman she would have in her purse.
For sure, yeah, perhaps, yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. So I immediately get angry because, well, what else does one do in this situation? Because there are rocks and debris and branches everywhere on the riverbank of the lower Niagara River. And you could have easily had literally covered that shit up, and no one would have known about it. It would have been out of sight, out of mind. The water would have eventually washed it, whatever. Okay. Nope. Left it wide open. So out of my anger, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to start fishing. So I thought. I go in a fucking, of course, I pick up my rod. Okay, I have them all broken down. So I gotta go, I gotta take the strings off to undo it. So I loosen the cable lock and I start to slide, and I'm like, what the? There is feces on the bottom of my fishing rod. Okay?
That's fucking disturbing,
So
dude.
I'm already losing it. I'm like, what the? So immediately dunk my fishing rod in the water and start scraping it on the rocks and just everything. So I throw my rod on the down on the ground. I'm cursing up a storm, and I'm like looking all over. I retrace all my steps, and I'm like, where on earth did I push this in shit? I had just covered up a pile, like, and it wasn't that one. So I go back, clean off the rod, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick up my other rod and switch baits. Maybe that'll like change something. And more feces is on the bottom of that rod. So I finally look down, and there is a ginormous pile of shit that some
like diarrhea.
Yes, that some scumbag
some Riri
fucking shit on the side of the river.
Fucking Riri.
And did not cover up with anything. No debris, no toilet paper, no tissues, nothing.
Are we sure it was human?
Yes, dude. There's no way that dude. I don't want to think about it, look at it again in my mind, but I promise you.
Okay? I mean, what makes you so confident? Was there corn in it or something?
Dude, there was debris, okay, man?
Are you sure it was puke? Maybe it was puke and not...
Dude. Okay? I've never been so certain of anything in my life, okay?
Oh, God. I don't know where your confidence is coming from, dude. I really don't.
I had to wipe it off my rods and shit. That's how I know, dog. Okay?
Oh, God.
It was disgusting, bro. The whole entire experience.
Oh,
I
God.
was scraping up mounds of sediment from the Niagara River to fucking get the rod in there like fucking chocolate pool cue to get all this fecal off of my damn rods.
All right.
And wash them in
no
water
toilet paper.
over and over and over and over again. It was atrocious. It was awful. Needless to say, I didn't catch fucking anything.
Well,
and this started the whole entire rant of human indecency.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude. Thanks
for listening, everyone.
When you first brought this up, we decided to cut off the conversation because it would be better recorded. My initial.
I know it's human because of the pile that was right near it, dude.
Yeah. So look, dude. There's like what we talked. Like, let's just follow this through. And if you're gonna be disgusted by it, then I guess
turn off the
just see you later. But look,
this is what happened.
I'm trying to think this through and like maybe maybe give some leniency to this person, but I'm just trying.
I don't think they deserve it, but
right. But I'm trying. I'm trying. So you're number one. The pile with the toilet paper that you initially encountered. Let's talk about that one because I don't think those two are connected. Like because once a person shits in an area, they don't walk towards the river. Like they want to get the fuck out of there. Like nobody wants to hang out near shit they just took. You know what I'm saying? So
No doubt
they'll shit and bail. So I don't think it's
shit
too.
and bail.
I think it's two
Oh
separate
my god.
incidents, right? Now the one with the toilet paper. Let's just say like best case scenario. And since it was a small amount, maybe it was a dry shit. It didn't require a lot of wipes. I don't know. But if it that person was one of two things. It was a woman, maybe a dude, but more likely a woman. In her purse was carrying some like wet ones or something. Maybe it was the dude that took the shit or whatever, but it was the woman that was like. So it was just two random hikers. They got pretty far away from the porta johns. So like, fuck, man, I gotta go. So you duck down off the trail, drop one, and just get out, right? Like that could happen. I get. Like, how far from the parking lot were you?
I mean, not too crazy far. No, I wasn't quite to. I was at the beginning of the art park drift, I guess. Like if you were in the boat, I could see the bridge.
Okay, so either way, not too far, but not close.
Yeah.
You know, some, but like the fact that it was a more of a solid state, I'm not inclined to think that it was an emergency. What I'm really inclined to think is that it was an angler. You know, I think it's somebody who's got toilet paper. Like guys who are down there fishing come down there with a bag. Almost every guy who's carrying a bag with tackle and it has toilet paper too, just in case of emergency. And that dude was just too fucking lazy and just decided to take a shit and leave it there, not like leave it like in a clear spot where people
Yeah, it
fish.
was not the one that
That's just
the one
crazy,
that
dude. It's crazy.
the one that destroyed my fishing rods was up along the bank. So if we're gonna give any decency, at least they tucked away. This one though, that's the other reason I know it's human. Okay, is that it was tucked away in this little secluded kind of area where I was like, oh wow, this would be a good spot to set my fishing rods. The other person was like half the distance to the water, so they were like taking in the view, admiring the cold breeze, and then
Just drop trout
yep,
and let it spray
yep,
without toilet paper. Now let's so the first one was almost definitely an angler, in which case like that's extremely fucked up. You
yep.
know, like extremely fucked up. Why would you do that? Like other. Do you want to honestly fish near where you just shit? Like, and because eventually,
On the walkway too. Like I'm surprised I didn't step in it. To be honest,
because like eventually it's just gonna pile up. Like it's just a serious problem. I it's just disgusting. So I don't know why somebody would do that. All right, the second one I'm more inclined to believe, and clearly based on what you've poorly described, that was an emergency.
it was an emergency situation.
Right.
There's no doubt.
So what may have happened is a person was up on the main trail, felt that happen, felt that coming. It was in all likelihood under a period of darkness. Because that spot was exposed to the river, right? Like you could clearly see the river from this place. Like so that person is probably close to dark. They had an emergency. They ran down and sprayed, like, and then left.
In extreme duress, yes.
Yes. So I'm not saying either one of them is excusable, but
Or justified.
right. But it was. But the one where the toilet paper was left without covering it, like, dude, I just
You knowingly, like, yeah, like there was conscious effort gone into that one, like, clearly. And you could have taken 5 of the big rocks and covered it so that no one would have stepped in it. Like, it's just think about it in any capacity. Like there, I don't know, man. There's no part of me that really is able to give a lot of leniency here because it's like there's a huge tree line. Go up in there, tuck in there,
dig a hole in
something
the
like
ground.
dig a hole in the ground, cover it. But like basic sanitary things tell you not to like literally. Okay, here's where we're gonna go. Rant continuing. Okay, this is how lost we are as a human species that we do not know one of the most basic
No, it's not the
sanitary.
species, man. It's our culture
Okay,
here.
sure.
You know,
Sure.
because I could tell, like in
Sure.
South America, it ain't like that. You know,
Sure,
like
you're right.
when you're in
You're
the
right.
jungle, that they
You're right.
understand. And
In this civilized society, we have gotten so far apart that we have forgotten the basics of do not shit by a water source. It contaminates, okay? Now, I'm not saying that this one person shitting by the Niagara River, one of many, I understand it all. I get it. There's water waste treatment plants, all of that I understand. However, the fact that this person still.
did it turn off? Mine's working.
Still recording.
Yeah, I'll just put this down there.
So the fact that that person still did all of that, you know what I'm saying, dude? Like, okay, where was I going? So that should be a pretty basic thing. Like,
Yeah, no,
don't shit by water.
Yeah, where you were
Like,
going is it's not just water, dude. It's
anywhere humans are going to traffic.
Think about this. That like lessons that we've learned, hard lessons we've learned in the past based on ridiculous behaviors, like all the like ringworm in general, bloodworm problems that people used to experience back a day, and like tapeworms, like intestinal type of stuff. All those things were a result of people shitting really close to their village, and when they started becoming more agrarian, and you know, there's obviously all kinds of worms and parasites in that, and they would end up in the soil close to where they were pissing and shitting all the time, and they would walk in it, and these things would enter their bodies through their feet and create all kinds of problems. You know, like sanitation, like in war, especially like the Civil War, the biggest killer in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War One, trench warfare, the biggest killer in all those things was not combat itself; it was disease. Because people were just shitting and pissing in slit trenches, not all that far from where they were spending their entire days. Like, you're just talking about long lines of men, you know, bent over between two boards, shitting into a fucking trench in the ground. Can you imagine how bad that would smell in the fly? Like, so picture all the people angling, dropping trow and doing that. Yeah, this is one incident, but it's become my line in my late 40s now. Is it starts with one crumb. Like you could just sum everything up with it starts with one crumb. It just starts with one shit. That's what this is. Like when one person does it, and just like, oh well, that guy fucking did it or whatever, and people just start leaving
Perhaps
shit.
that's why the second person was opted to, or more.
Yeah, like
liable.
clearly this is a toilet.
Unacceptable behavior. Yeah,
you know, like it's you know, I don't.
Or they both had the same meal and they suffered different
You know, like
consequences.
people, the only solution to this is going to be people policing them, like themselves and us policing one another, because I've seen and heard numerous conversations about trash uh, along the lower Niagara.
I mean, we've talked about it
Yeah,
here
it's
many times.
you
Not
know
to this level,
along,
obviously,
along
but
the tributaries. You know,
yeah.
like so.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, dude. Like, if you are a prepared angler and you're out there, then you need to, or outdoors person in general, because whatever, even if this was a hiker, I'm speaking to everyone right now. Like, you need to bury, cover, do your best to keep that out of any way that any other person is going to contact it. Just period. Like, there, like scrape some leaves and stuff off of the bank, put rocks on it, cover a huge pile of rocks on it so that it's not going to get uncovered for a very long time and it'll be washed away by the rain by the time anyone's going to get to it, okay? Like, that's literally just completely unacceptable behavior. Like, and it is a free outdoor space. So this person was there. They had access to it, so they clearly got there. So how would that person feel if you just went and took a shit on their carpet in their house? Seriously. Like, you're just completely invading a space that other people have access to and ruining it. Like, why? Like, so what is this line of thinking that this, like, whatever, emergency or not, like, seriously, just have some courtesy and some consideration to the other people who are going to be out there. Like, it's the same, it not as obviously egregious, but like when you just leave your balled up wads of line on the shore and everything, like, you are not, like, you don't have to take care of it, but now you are causing issues for other anglers who are going to eventually get hooked up in it, or birds taking it into taking it off, them getting tangled in it, like it getting tangled in the trees. All of these various different things that
And it just looks like shit.
it
And
does, yeah. Like
like it
would you
ruins the
want to take?
experience of being out there. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
like
the,
would
like
you
to me,
want to
it's
be?
the main driver. That's the main driver of like you're trying to escape and relax and unwind, and you got trash
Yeah,
around you. Like you start to feel like you're in a trashy place.
yeah. So like obviously no, I have not been up to Alaska yet, but just for like the magnitude of the example, because I do believe it is it does need to get to this. It's like if you went up somewhere in Alaska and you were fishing and you just stopped over and you saw the amount of litter, debris, and trash that is on certain sections and parts of the lower Niagara and upper Niagara River at times, I really feel it could taint your view of what a pristine environment is.
All right.
So if that's a pristine environment, so we don't treat it that way, why is this not going to get held to the same standards? Because the lower Niagara, okay, yes, there's already the water authorities down there, like, and there's building structures and stuff like. It's not going to get any more natural than it is at this point. So if we don't stop at some point and say, hey, like we need to start having some respect for these places that we frequent so that other people can enjoy it and frequent it and everything, like it's just insanity to me. Like if you're gonna treat it this poorly, like you shouldn't have access to it. And that goes into a conversation I was having with Tyler Cooney earlier today. Shout out, bro. About there really should be a conversation about anglers having to take a test similar to a hunter safety course before you get into fishing, because there's practices, all of these things we talk about that people are just completely oblivious to or they don't care about. And on the flip side of things, there's a lot of people who get into fishing who would love to have a jump start in it like you get with hunting, like where they go over hunting and like all the angles and everything, shots and pristine environment and all of that. Why is that not a thing for fishing? Like what's the only solution to ignorance is education, educating people on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's
Yeah, your turn. Take
yeah,
off.
yeah.
Now I'm
Because
getting
well, when it comes to regulations, I always get squeamish. So
sure.
like, I attended the hunter safety course. You attended the hunter
Mm-hmm.
safety course. Everybody who hunts has attended the hunter safety course. And if you walk around in the woods, there's trash all over the place out there too, where
Sure.
people hunt in public lands. I don't think
Sure.
the education is a. That's why, like, man, it really takes a village for things like this. Like forcing an education on somebody, like, because you're just gonna click through all of it anyway. Like anything that's sanctioned by some sort of higher power,
Sure.
there's gonna be a significant percentage of people, myself included, that are just like apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
Like for me, it just makes straight up common sense. Like number one, this world is not just yours. Like there's billions of people that live in this planet. Like so wherever you are, there are other people. So you have to understand your effect that you're having on the world. Like it isn't you're not like living inside your house, where like you were pent up during COVID and had no influence. It's like I hate to blame things on COVID because it was so long ago, but maybe something was lost during that period. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I think people have littered plenty in the past. So, but I do have this sense, and maybe it's just because I'm getting old, that decency and self awareness are declining. But I think,
Yeah. I don't think you're the only one.
yeah, but I think but I'm just apprehensive about saying that I'm like that it's nowadays when I think every parent could. If I said that to my dad, he'd probably say, "Yeah, I was thinking about that when you were growing up." And then you could go down the generations.
Yeah, sure.
But I just doesn't matter how long it's been going on for. It does you can try to stop it, but the only way
Yeah.
that it can be stopped is if we police ourselves.
Mm.
Just spread the word. And you see somebody litter, just be like either if you don't want to be confrontational and like tell that person that hey dude, if you don't want to even address it, just wait till they leave and pick up after them. Like
except in this circumstance,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
pick it up.
yeah. Like what you experienced
That was
was
like
definitely an extreme. Like
that.
that.
Yeah, that is like yeah. I pray to God that I never experience that again. That was awful, especially because it got on my gear. Like that's like, and okay, I could have had more self awareness of where I put my stuff, but like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
When have you ever? I meant to ask you that. Have you ever had that happen to you?
No.
Have you ever had the fear of that? Have you ever had to think about that when you were fishing? No,
No.
no. So it's like absolutely wild to me. And not in a good way, not wild in a good way at all. Just absolute, just blatant disregard for anything. So that has led me down a lot of rabbit holes. I didn't catch anything that day, as I already said. Um, and I don't know that I really cared to fish that much longer after that, anyways. Um, and it's just like, you know, yeah,
Two people's shit ruined your day. It's
yeah,
fucked up.
it is, it is. And it's like, yeah, whatever grand scheme, like, yeah, I could move away from this area and go somewhere, more rural where maybe like I'm not getting so impacted by all this stuff. But it's like, that's not the case right now. This is where I live, and I'm going to advocate for where I'm living right now. And this is like, pun intended, whatever. But this is bullshit. That this is like something that we as anglers have to deal with. Most of the time, the boat anglers are not going to be as directly impacted as shore anglers, but you guys still have to look at it to an extent,
Yeah.
especially when you're hugging shore in art park and all that. Not to mention when you throw your balled up line in the water, it has and does get tangled in our trolling motor props, the big props, your lines, and
Causes
then
snags
causes
too.
snags. Yep.
In fact, you're like today. I got stuck on somebody's balled up. I almost lost a lure. I was able to get it out. Thankfully, the line broke. It was a rat's
Yeah.
nest of line stuck on the bottom. Like that. That's another thing that always blows my mind is when people break off. How does that much line end up in the water? Like these big rat's nests and balls of line.
So here's something
I don't
that
know where that like unless you got spooled, but I don't even understand how you like no creature down there is gonna spool you.
the thing is I like, and I'm gonna just go back to the education. Like people have no idea. Like you and I know, and I'll demonstrate or whatever for any angler who does not know that if you need to break off a lure, the quickest, most direct, easiest way is to point your line directly at it, hold the bail, and just either let the current or you step back. And 80% of the time, first pull or so, probably the lure pops off. So if these people are snagged and then snipping it at their reel, that could be why. But it's like still like
That's
it would
insane.
save. I know, and it would save you money, time spooling up if you just boop and pop it. Like, anyways, another little part of my tangent.
Might be
I've just
monofilament too, though. That might be the
true. But anyways, I'm just I'm getting fed up with because these are outdoor spaces that we all do share, and so far in the whatever we've been doing this podcast now, is this our third year coming up or so? And I've been picking up trash even since before then. But since I was talking to Ryan, I haven't fished the lower much since till we started recording the podcast. Then I started getting down there more. I have yet to see another human being down there picking up trash. Um, I see plenty of anglers down there, and I am well aware that they are the ones leaving the beer cans and a lot of the Tim Hortons coffee cups. Uh, and also, because I'm just passionate and I'm just gonna keep going on this. Like, think about like Tim Hortons. If anyone working there is listening to this, do you like how does that look for you as a company to have your trash? McDonald's, all of those places, like when your trash is just strewn about
yeah.
the side of a quote unquote natural place. I'm just right now talking about the lower, but this is all the places Ryan and I have fished locally, all the creeks, tributaries, streams, dams, ponds, lakes, rivers, stream, all of it. Like this has been something that we have encountered, and it's like eventually people are gotta have to take a stand and just be like, enough's enough. Like these practices like cannot continue like that because it does impact the other people around you. But Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now. That's all I got on that, I think, for now.
No, man, we're in violent agreement there. It's I run into balloons, lots of balloons, but
I found those miles into the woods before, and it's like, they float. And they're going to go wherever they land. Yeah.
but out in the lake, I you know that's about all I see. It's when I get into the rivers that I'm like, dude, what is going on here? So hopefully the word gets around, man. But you and I will at least keep working to try to change things.
Yeah,
So,
and everyone's got to be an advocate for it, and whether it's like you said, picking up the trash or saying something to someone who's leaving trash, or just spreading the word, like of being more diligent about it and everything. It's like Ryan said, it takes a village. A lot of people doing a little is going to be a lot better than one person doing a lot. So
yes, sir.
that's all I got. All right, tight lines. We will catch you next week. Should be back on the regular schedule as things are cooling down. The fishing is going to be heating up. I have salmon, lake trout, brown trout, steelhead, and smallmouths to catch soon.
Yes,
So,
you do, buddy.
got to make it happen. All right. Well, peace out, everybody.
See you.